Who says drifting in BeamNG is difficult? I've been hearing this that drifting in BeamNG Drive is too hard. So I decided to challenge myself. And today, I'm gonna drift. Difficult or not, I'm gonna do it. I don't know the settings and I don't know how hard it is. But
I will find you. And I will
drift. He said drift. For this challenge, I've prepared 5 different cars, including great mods that were made specially for drifting purposes. So I put on my gloves and got ready for my first challenge. We've arrived at the drift track on this lovely island. The task? Drift for 1 lap without breaking the chain. And I only have 3 lives. Every time I fail, I lose 1. First, we have the Gabrielbosto, the drift special config. With only few seconds from finding out how hard it could be, I was both stressed and excited. Went through the first turn with a bit of help from the handbrake. The car was suddenly in the state of oversteer, but I managed to put it back in a straight line and kept it smooth. Everything looked promising and I started to get extra confident. And that's when the car oversteered. Now for the second round, I knew that I had to be careful with the power. And so I decided to pay more attention to throttle control. And it actually worked. Everything worked out perfectly. Steering input, throttle control, I was changing directions with ease. But one small mistake with the steering had me lose control again. So apparently I can drift, I have the required skills, but it seems they're not enough. So I had to go with my last try and I was so determined to do it because now I know what my problems are. The same as before, I had a good pace, but soon it ended with another oversteer. And as a matter of fact, this time I failed sooner than the last time. So it was Ibishu's turn. Now this one's a little bit different. It has more power, but the steering is much better. It was a bit soon to judge and say whether if the extra power can get me into trouble or the better steering can save me. But I guess we're gonna find out. The pacing, the angle, all was good, but I couldn't help it. And this time I fell into a new trap while I was trying to escape oversteering. This time, lack of steering input had me lose control and crash. Last try was also the same. I'm struggling here. Oversteering has turned out to be one hell of a pain in the ass problem. But I knew that something is causing this and it's not just me and my lack of skills. So I decided to get rid of my gloves, only to find out that my gloves weren't the only problem, so I had to get rid of my watch too. And as you might have guessed, they got me nowhere. So it was time to bring my fierce and lovely Chevrolet Corvette. So this one's the Formula Drift Edition and it's one hell of a beast and it might seem a bit hard to drift, but quite frankly, it was way better than the previous ones. Well, that doesn't mean that I won't mess it up again, and yes, I did it again. Too much power and I oversteered. But next try was something else. Bro, I finally got the hang of it. Almost like the spirit of Ken Block suddenly emerged in me. And yes, I know it was a bit sloppy, but it was good enough to get the job done. And I was like, oh, so that wasn't me. It had to do something with the cars, right? But as unbelievable as it might seem to you, with only few inches away from the finish line, I was haunted by oversteering again. But getting so close to the finish line had me believe that I can actually do it. So for the next try, which was the last try by the way, I decided to finally pull it off. By following the same procedures as before, I managed to get closer and closer to the finish line. I admit it, I got lucky a couple of times where I nearly lost control and oversteered again, but as expected, I managed to get myself to the finish line, and so the challenge is completed. But something kept bugging me. So if I was able to do it with a Chevrolet Corvette, then how about other cars? I mean, if I was able to do it after so many tries and a lot of practice, so I'm gonna be able to do it again, right? If it's a drift challenge, there's definitely an empty spot for a BMW. So here I am, drifting the BMW M5, thinking that now that I did it once, I can do it again. And I couldn't be any more wrong. This BMW M5 wasn't a drift car, but I wanted to give it a try, and now I regret it. And after that, I decided to go back to drift cars, thinking that it will change everything, but it proved me wrong again. So apparently, drifting in BeamNG Drive is actually difficult. And I have decided to go back to what I'm good at. But that's not the end. I will rise above them all and I won't take a knee. I'm thinking maybe it wasn't a good track to start with. Maybe I didn't have the right and the correct wheel settings. So this ain't the end. I'll be back and I will drift as smooth as a smoothie on the exact same track with every car. You name it. Tell me in the comments and I'll pick the next 5 cars to drift in the next video. But this time, I won't mess it up. I'm Mason and I'd like to thank you for watching and your support. See you in the next one.